Hey everyone, what is happening? Welcome back to the B-Sides. So, I just did a live story on Instagram and I figured why not do the same for my YouTube channel as well to get the story out there. So, if you guys have been following me, subscribing, or I don't know, just liking my photographs, you know that I am a writer and a poet, and that I also dabble in photography from time to time. Um, and what you guys might not know is that I am actually an aunt. And I am an aunt to not one, not two, not three, not four, but 14. 14 nieces and nephews. I got some pretty busy sisters and brothers, apparently. No, 14 nieces and nephews, and they are the loves of my life. Man, I adore these kids. I get to play with them. I get to feed them sugar. I get to send them home, and I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to suffer the consequences. Not that that's suffering. It's they are my joy though, and I love to spend time with them. And when I spend time with them, I revel in their childhood, in their innocence, in their zest for everything. And then sometimes when I sit back, I wonder about all the things that they're going to be when they get older. Are they going to be strong? Are they going to be athletic? Are they going to be, as cute as they are now? It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to love them anyway, what they are going to be and everything, just as long as they do it well and they do it with passion and conviction and with a strength that I hope they gather throughout the years of their lives. And I also hope that they're brave to do all the things that they want to do, to, even if it's brave in a very simple way of trying out for the school play or going to college in another country or studying something that, I don't know, just bravery, however they define bravery. I hope that they are brave. And so, not only am I a writer and a poet about issues that I find dear, but I also am a children's book writer. And as much as you might have been following me on Instagram and stuff, you might have seen that I don't rhyme very often, but apparently I know how to. And so, where I rhyme my most and hopefully my best is when I write children's books. And I wrote this children's book, The Once Brave Boy, for my nephew Andrew. And I think I didn't just write it for him, even though the main character is Andrew. I wrote it for all those kids of every single age out there in the world that care about their bravery, that it matters to them, that think about their bravery and what it means and what it means to be brave. So I'm working on putting it together with illustrations now. So I'm going to read to you from The Once Brave Boy, and I'm going to show you some illustrations on the way. So here we are, The Once Brave Boy. For Andrew, who I can never, ever, 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 ever love too much. There once was a boy, so brave and so true. Some called him fearless, but we'll call him Andrew. An only child was he, no siblings, not one. But this did not stop him from having some fun. He went to the most adventurous places in his head, sometimes without ever getting up out of his bed. He climbed to the top of Everest, he bounced on the moon, all without ever leaving his room. His room was his kingdom where he sat at the helm. Oh, what fun did he have at the Lord as the lord of his realm. He ruled with style, he ruled with grace, and he always, always, always stared danger in the face. When it came to being brave, some say he was the best of the best, for he never backed down when his courage was put to the test. He was so very ferocious, he was ever so bold. He wasn't even not 8 years old. There was no danger too big, no peril too small. If these villains he's faced with, why, he'd fight them all. What made him so daring, so dashing, so unafraid? I suppose that's what happens when you are the bravest of brave. Word of his bravery traveled wide and it traveled far. Why, they even heard about him in Myanmar. These are some of the stories they told, and all of them true. For there was no braver boy than our brave Andrew. He could hold his breath and swim the length of the Nile, even while wrestling a crocodile. Often he rode on the back of a brachiosaurus. Some even say he was taught by Chuck Norris. Andrew spoke Chinese and Russian and even Latin. His favorite words in the world were Veni Vidi Vici and Carpe Diem. Some say there was no braver boy than he. Maybe there never was. Perhaps there never will be. Andrew imagined himself a knight, a warrior, an Indian chief, and when he felt mischievous, he imagined himself a thief. He imagined himself bold, he imagined himself strong, and then one day, something went terribly wrong. What creature, what crawler, what inhuman beast transformed our young hero into the least of the least? Was it a dog with 3 heads with a monstrous roar? Or was it a scamp that never had been seen before? All that is known from that day on and almost forevermore. This once brave boy was brave no more. There is no telling what gave Andrew quite such a fright, but our hero, young Andrew, lost all of his bravery that night. But Andrew was no scaredy cat. He was not even a wimp. Why, he never backed down from a fight with an imp. That's what makes this situation, oh, so confusing. You see, Andrew was simply unaccustomed to losing. Now Andrew was scared of monsters. He was even afraid of the dark. You should have seen him jump when he heard a dog bark. Poor Andrew had forgotten what being brave was about, for Andrew the Fierce had become Andrew the Lout. He searched every mountain. He searched high, he searched low. But where, oh, where did his bravery go? He checked under his bed. He checked behind his closet door. He even checked inside his top drawer. He searched and he searched, but his bravery he could not find. It is sad, but sometimes even heroes get left behind. One day, Andrew stopped looking. He gave up the search, and nothing, not one thing, could get him out of his lurch. Without his daring, his spirit, his funk, it seems our young Andrew had fallen into a funk. Andrew's parents got worried, for no coward was he. There must be something they can do to help him find his bravery. What brouhaha, what mayhem could they find themselves in that would help our once courageous Andrew be courageous again? What giant, what ogre, what leviathan of lore could return Andrew's bravery to what it was once before? They would need to be rescued from danger, from turmoil, perhaps from the grips of an evil gargoyle. So they devised a plan. They stayed up all night, and in the morning they seemed to have gotten it right. From their plan once hatched, there was no turning back, for they just had to have their hero back. So they stole away that morning after Andrew left for school. He might not have been brave, but Andrew was no fool. But they left a map and a trail of breadcrumbs to ensure that their hero would come. But Andrew did not learn of their fate until perhaps the hour had grown late. For Andrew went straight to his room when he got off the bus, where even his mighty sword had gathered some dust. He thought about picking it up again just this once, but without his bravery, Andrew felt like a dunce. So he hid it away so that he did not lose it. After all, what good is bravery if you never use it? Andrew no longer climbed mountains. He only climbed onto his bed, where he chose to finish his homework instead. After all the questions were answered, when his work was complete, Andrew went down the hall to find something to eat. The sky had grown dark, the night had grown cold, but all through the house there was no one to behold. But both his mother and father were nowhere in sight. Andrew knew then and there that something wasn't quite right. Andrew looked in the kitchen. He put the lights on outside. It was not like his parents to run off and hide. He called and he shouted, but there was no reply. This is not funny anymore. Where are you guys? There was nobody there. there was nobody home. It seems that our once brave boy was now all alone. Just when he had almost given up hope, he found the map, and attached was a note. He found us, he took us, he stole us away. Please, Andrew, please come and save the day. P.S. Be brave, dear boy, be as brave as you can, for we have been kidnapped by half beast, half man. Who exactly was he, Andrew knew not, for in that moment it was only his fear he forgot. Without a second to lose, without a minute to waste, Andrew made off with all due haste. Over mountains he traveled, through deserts and across rivers galore, to make sure that his parents were safe once more. When he had come so far, when there's nowhere to go, Andrew found himself face to face with his foe. It was a giant who stood over 10 feet tall. Poor Andrew never felt so tiny, so small. Behind the giant there rose a loud cheer. He could tell by their voices Andrew's parents were near. Thank goodness he made it. There's nothing to fear. Hip, hip, hooray, our hero is here. Upon hearing their cheers, the giant let out a laugh, for the giant was taller than the tallest giraffe. I was not expecting a boy quite so young. Why, you are no bigger than my little right thumb. The giant went on. He was not quite finished. There was still the last of Andrew's confidence to diminish. You have lost all of your bravery, and you will lose this war because you once brave boy. You are brave no more. Andrew thought to himself, that wasn't quite true. And in that moment, his bravery grew, and it grew. Andrew gathered all his courage. He gathered all his might. If it was a fight this giant wanted, then a fight he would fight. Andrew may have been young, and he may have been small, but he was still the bravest of brave after all. In the most heroic of voices that Andrew could muster, he shouted out loud so as not to seem flustered. On guard, you big oaf, you rapscallion, you goon. I'm going to send you straight back to the moon. And with that, Andrew began his first mode of attack. It seems as if our young hero was finally back. It was a battle of brains. It was a battle of brawn. It was a battle that lasted from dusk until dawn. Finally, the giant, he could not take it no more. And in one thunderous thud, he fell to the floor. For sometimes giants do lose. Sometimes giants do fall. And then they are not so giant at all. And boys once brave are brave forever, because bravery once found can never be lost. Not ever. This is how this once brave boy did win. He refused to give up, and he refused to give in. Andrew rescued his parents. He did save the day. His bravery was back, and it was here to stay. His parents, they clapped, they whooped, and they roared, because their once brave boy was brave once more. Hooray, you did it! You saved us! It's true! You are, and always have been, our hero, Andrew. They made their way back. They made their way home to return their once brave boy to his throne. There is a moral to this story, a point you will see, something that has to do with bravery. On the days you want to give up, on the days you want to quit, here is something to remember, and always remember it. You are brave and gutsy and fearless and bold, no matter who you are, no matter how old. So get out there, go do it. The world is waiting for you. You too are as brave as our once brave boy, Andrew. And never be surprised at the things you can do when the people you believe in most believe in you too. Everyone, I just read from you The Once Brave Boy. It's available on Amazon, and we're awaiting those illustrations that I showed you too. Be brave.